Hello, this is the Mysterious Mystery, and this is my Rogue One review. So, as far as plot, everyone knows the basic plot. This is the team that stole and delivered the Death Star plans to Princess Leia. Now, I'm going to go through what I feel are the biggest parts, the characters and how they interacted, or some that were just kind of thrown in that are nods to the original trilogy, cameos, and the Guardians of the Will. I'm gonna talk about that later, though. First off, the characters. Jyn Erso. We're introduced to her as a child, and we see how her mother's killed and her father's taken, and she's raised off screen by Saw Gerrera until the age of 16, where she's been on her own. Saw Gerrera, he is, one of the radical leaders of a faction of rebels that act more violently than the others do, usually. And because of this, and I'm guessing some things that might be explained in a book or maybe in Star Wars Rebels, he broke off from the rest of the rebellion, although he's still part of it. The rest of the rebellion don't really keep in contact with him. K2SO. Now, he was the Imperial Enforcer droid. He is so funny. He has like a real dry wit, and his moments are just perfect. Like when Jyn takes out 5 stormtroopers and shoots in like an Imperial Enforcer drone and like falls down, then he walks up behind him. He's like, "You knew that wasn't me, right?" She's like, Of course she didn't know, but that was funny to think of it. And how he's like, his entire all his dialogue's just brilliant. Mon Mothma, she does have some few roles. Well, she does have a key role in this as well, and some speaking lines. So she like gives Jyn her mission after they free her from her prisoner transport. Bail Organa, he does have a few speaking roles in this as well, and near the end, Mon Mothma tells him to call his Jedi friend, and then he says he'll do that, and he has to go back to Coruscant to make sure everything's a-okay, but he'll send his daughter to take care of that. So, leading up to the New Hope. Cassian Andor, I wasn't sure about his character at first. I thought, is this just going to be like how Finn was with Rey? But he wasn't, which I'm very pleased about. He's the captain of his own ship. He's more than willing to kill if given the order, but when his commanding officer does give him the order to kill Jyn Erso's father, he hesitates, and it doesn't matter after that because he is shortly killed after that. Chirrut Iwan, I'm pronouncing that last name wrong, I know it, but anyway, he's a blind Force user and a Guardian of the Wills, alongside Blaise Marbus. I'm pronouncing that last name wrong, I just know it. Anyway, they're both Guardians of the Will. Blaise has given up on it, but he used to be very devoted, according to Chirrut. Chirrut still very much believes in the Force, and he's very capable as well. And Blaise covers his back with his, I don't know what type of blaster that is, but once I find out, I will do a video on that as well. And you see General John Dodonna. I thought that was a brilliant nod to the original trilogy as well. And he has like a few roles, like a few speaking lines in there as well. Okay, now that we're mostly done talking about the good guys, I'm not telling you everything they said. This is what I remember after seeing it. Let's talk about the villains. The villains, everyone says Darth Vader was amazing in this, which he is, but I'll get to him in a minute. But the villain who took it away from me was Grand Moff Tarkin. Now, I was a little nervous. Was like, how are they gonna make him? Because some of that CGI of making an entire person, sometimes it doesn't look right. But they did it right with him, except for this one scene. But it was like only lasted a few seconds. I don't think many people noticed it. Whereas he did look a little generated, but maybe that's just my eye. I was sitting really close to the screen. Anyway, Grand Moff Tarkin, he was very, like, he just, when he's like in the rooms, like, yeah, everyone knows he's in charge, even though he doesn't dress like Director Krennic, who was dressed in white, who you can obviously tell, oh, this guy's not your average officer. But Grand Moff Tarkin, just the way he carried himself, it's obvious. Now, to Director Krennic, I found his performance also very good, and it showed me what an Imperial officer usually are depicted as in Legends and canon as well. Kind of always trying to get above each other and like always trying to hold more power and control. Like Director Krennic, although he was in charge of the Death Star, evidently he's made some multiple mistakes in the past. So he thought once the Death Star's test was successful, he would be able to keep the Death Star. But the second the test was successful, Grand Moff Tarkin, this is one of the moment I thought brilliant. He said, "Congratulations on your successful test. I'm taking over the Death Star immediately." And then Director Krennic gets all angry, and then Grand Moff Tarkin tells him to go find who sent a signal out to the enemies. And now to Darth Vader. Oh my god. Like, it was like his moments were short, but so powerful. His neck did look a little weird, but I guess it's not the biggest thing. It was a little weird. It took me out of the movie for a moment, but I'm like, yeah, well, whatever. So I went back into it. Darth Vader, when he was speaking to Director Krennic, and Director Krennic said, "Am I back in charge of the Death Star?" Because Darth Vader said, "Find out who's been sending this and deal with them." And then he says, "Does that mean I'm back in charge of the Death Star?" And Vader starts choking him, force choking him. He's like, "Be sure not to choke on your own aspirations." And I thought that was just a brilliant line. And at the end of the movie, where he invades like one of the main ships to get the Death Star plans back, and then all the crew members there like open fire on him, and he like okay, let me take one step back. How he entered, it was just his breathing, then the hum of his lightsaber, and that was the only light in the hallway. And then they all opened fire on him. He deflected, force crushed, and I think he force choked one guy, but I saw him force crush at least two of them. And then like how they passed off the Death Star plans while they were being slaughtered, and the door was like kind of stuck, so he used the force to open it, and then like the guy ran and he killed like the 4 guys that were in his way, and then they launched, and like you could just, even though it was a max, you could just tell how pissed he was. Like he was like 1 foot away from getting the Death Star plans back, and they just got away. Now to cameos. I am really I was really excited. Like I saw the Ghost in the a little early in the film, like in the shipyard on Yamen 4. It was rather the Ghost or another VCX-100 light freighter, which I doubt, but yeah. And when they were calling the meeting for all the high-ranking leaders of the rebellion, they said, "General Semdula, come to the meeting room," or something along those lines. And I'm not sure if I'm right or wrong about this, but I think at the time in Star Wars Rebels, I think she's still a captain of her own squadron. I don't think she's a general yet, so she gets a promotion. And like I blinked at this moment, but I heard Chopper's beeping, and someone told me later, "Oh wow, did you see Chopper?" I was like, okay, so that confirms it for me. So those were the 3 moments Star Wars Rebels were in there. So I was really happy about that. In the space battle, there was Red Leader Gavin Dares. I know I'm saying that wrong, and Gold Leader Dutch Vander. I thought, oh wow, another nod to the original trilogy, very classic. And then, of course, you saw Poe Baban, no, I'm saying that wrong, and Dr. Corvus Ezian, which, if you don't remember, they were the two individuals at the cantina on Tatooine that confronted Luke, that said, "I don't like you," and then they tried to attack him, and old Obi-Wan chopped off one of the guys' arm. And another cameo, C3PO, and R2D2, obviously not a Star Wars movie without them. Biggs, he was in the Starship battle. You have to look carefully on that, like, because he's like there and gone just like that. And of course, at the end, Princess Leia. Now, I want to talk about the Guardians of the Will. Now, I hope these guys have some connection to the Shamans of the Will. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Shamans of the Will were the people who helped, who were very devoted Force users that helped Obi-Wan Kenobi's master become a Force ghost, although he died before he could finish his training. Now, I found that very interesting, so I thought Qui-Gon, I was like, do they know? I was thinking, I don't know how old these people are, Baze and Chirrut, I don't know how old they are. So, did they possibly know the Shaman of the Wills that taught Qui-Gon Jinn? Were they really young? Because maybe they're in their 40s, so I'm guessing maybe they're around the same age as Obi-Wan, because despite him looking like an old man, he's not that old. He was maybe in his 50s. It's the reason he looked like so old is because he was on that desert planet, and there's actually real-world science explaining why he would look twice as old. Anyway, so I hope they do a spin-off comic or a small novel or something that explains that, because I'll really be interested in that. And my last note is on the back half of Star Wars Season 3, Saw Gerrera is Coming. They released a promotional picture on Twitter, and it says, "Save the Rebellion, Save the Dream," and you see the crew of the Ghost there, except for Sabine. She's flying in the air, and the rest of them are on the ground. So I thought that was interesting. And along with that, how the Rebels said they had a falling out with Saw Gerrera and his group. Maybe they'll address that in this season. At least I hope they do. And that will be all for my Star Wars Story Rogue One spoiler review. I hope you all enjoyed it. Like, share, and subscribe.